Hello and welcome, friends, to another Let's Talk UNRWA episode. I am Diala Ghanem, the Communications Manager at UNRWA USA, and I'm your host for this hour. Our Executive Director, Mara Cronenfield, who usually hosts this show, is in the field right now with our Director of Strategic Programs in Lebanon and in Jordan. So stay tuned for more updates on her visit with UNRWA official and Palestine refugees in the field. So today is International Women's Day. So a huge shout out to all the strong women in our lives, and particularly Palestine refugee women who are the backbones of their communities. So a quick refresher on our program for our new listeners. Let's Talk UNRWA is a monthly speaker series live streamed on UNRWA USA's social media channels. Our goal is to provide all of you with an insider view of UNRWA's work, and it's also a unique opportunity for you to hear directly from UNRWA staff who work on the field and here in the United States. This is our third episode of the year, but we encourage you to check out our entire list of past episodes at unrwausa.org. We've covered multiple topics and made sure to bring a well-rounded perspective about UNRWA and the work they do for refugees on the ground. To celebrate this day, I am honored to feature Rawya Hillis, the principal of Gaza's training center. I personally met Rawya in Gaza this past summer, and it was such an eye-opening experience for me. So thank you, Rawya, for your time and for being with us here today. And thank you for your service with UNRWA. So to start us off, Rawya, I really want to give our listeners, a kind reminder that the Gaza Strip hosts an estimated 1.6 million refugees from other regions of historic Palestine. And most of UNRWA workers are refugees themselves. So Rawya, can you tell our viewers about your refugee story and how has UNRWA been a part of your life?
Of course, thank you, Diala, for having me in this and give me this opportunity to engage and to let people know about the UNRWA services. Thank you very much. My story as a refugee started not by me, but started with my grandmother and the grandfather and parents when they were forced to leave their origin, which was called Hamama, Bajan, Hamama called Bajan. Yes, it was by the Mediterranean. When I said Mediterranean, that fishing, they left everything. They left land, they left their memories, they left even clothes, expecting that one day will return. I until now remember my grandmother and father hold the key in order to say that one day we will return and to wear these clothes. They live the memories, they live the sound of the bird, the simplicity of the life, everything they live. But about me, Rawya, the first breath was in UNRWA clinic.
Wow.
Yes, my birthday was in UNRWA clinic. My grandmother worked there as a cleaner also. But unfortunately, I lost my father when I was 3 months only, leaving my mother alone with the three kids. And you know, Diala, the social culture in these days that not allow two men. My mother was beautiful, by the way, and she was 23 years old and she was young. Her parents forbid her in order to stay with the three kids without a man. How come to stay without a man? But she determined and with her will overcome all the challenges around her from her parents and said to them, I want to pay for my sons. I want to live with them. Leave me with them. I will not have another woman. This is my kids. So she started to struggle and struggle. After 5 years, she became a cleaner in UNRWA also. And I'm proud of that. Proud that my mother was a cleaner, served people, refugees people, and served me to be in this position today. My mother was my inspiration, everything in my life. God bless her.
God bless her. This is such a perfect story about your upbringing on theme with International Women's Day. So
Yes.
it's so powerful, and I give my regards to your mom and to your family.
Yes, exactly. And the basic education I have in UNRWA school, the basic education, primary and elementary. Then after secondary, I moved to Ramallah Women's Center, which is UNRWA also, to have diploma in English, to return back to the school, to be a teacher in the school where I was a student there, to be a teacher where I was a student with the same teacher. And after that, I became deputy school principal and then principal for school for 20 years. And after that, here as Gaza Training Center principal. I want to mention something during my experience as a principal, because it was long experience, 20 years, full of challenges, full of achievement, full of problem. I want to mention one story only. My school got the prize School of Excellence in 2007 with harmony, with cooperation, with the achievement, high achievement. And after this reward, I was promoted to another school, which is preparatory, middle school, as a promotion. But I was shocked by the circumstances and this school, which was full of trouble, full of problem, low achiever, not qualified teacher, no connection with the community. Everything was catastrophic. So for a moment, I wonder whether this is a promotion or punishment. How come? But yes, this is the reality. I gather my team and say one word: to be or to be. There's nothing except to be, and start to have a strategic plan and to meet with parents and together with respect each one to participation, to make them part of decision, communicate with the make connection with the local community. They trust us. They start to trust us. Now we were able to be this school to be one of remarkable one in Gaza now, called Al-Amal. Al-Amal mean in English, and it's hope, you know. And this school transfer from side to another positive side, which I am proud of this experience. My mother, again, my mother learned me determination and will not to give up, not to settle or anything, but to continue the achievement. In the Gaza Training College, yes, now I am a principal, but also I want to mention another thing, Riyala.
Tell me.
In 2014, escalation in Gaza, military escalation in Gaza, it was, you know, very hard, the most difficult one on Gaza. Destruction, killing, blood, tears, sadness, everything. If you gather the language in the dictionary, you will and select all the vocabulary about the sadness. Was the escalation in 2014.
Yes.
I hear that the chief of area called men, principal, in order to be manager for shelter. Immediately, I called him and said, I want to be a manager for one shelter. He said to me, Rawya, how? You are a mother, you have kids. I said immediately, yes, I have 7 kids, but I want to serve 3,000 people in the shelter. They need me. I am able to survive them. I am able to serve them. I am able to be supportive. I am full of solidarity. I want to be together with them. Yes. He agreed in front of my determination and will, which I taught from my mother.
Of course.
He agreed and immediately came to this community, which is full of pain, full of sadness, full of injuries, lost their beloved, lost their sons, lost their daughters. Everything you see around you was lead to huge sadness, to huge pain. But again, I want to be stronger than them. They lost their beloved. They lost their houses. But I'm here only to support them. Yes. So I did my best and work hard and hard in order to be with them all the time, all the pain, problem, and the story. I remember an old man called, until now, I remember his name. He was 70 years old with asthma, and it was Ramadan, by the way. Yes, and he came to the shelter without his family. He lost majority of his family under his house, and he came weeping and crying for his family and said, I want a place. In the same time, no places in the shelter, in my shelter, because it's full capacity. But in this moment, I left my room and prepare everything for him as his family, and I stay in the corridor. But it was happy. Very happy. I support this man, and each morning I had the coffee with him in the morning and said to me, Mrs. Rawya, please ask Allah and you're praying to protect my Omar. He's the rest of my family. Protect this son. All the time, really, I ask Allah to protect in my praying Omar. One day, one person came to me with Omar clothes, Diala. With Omar clothes means that Omar is killed. And said to me to tell his father that his son was died yesterday. I am Diala, mom. I am mother. But I gathered my will. I gathered my patience. I gathered my will. Everything in order to hold this clothes, to say to his father, who asked me all the time, to ask Allah to protect his son, who is the rest of his family. I went to him and told him that you believe in God and you should be patient. And he said to me, Mrs. Rawya, you want to tell me some sad news about Omar? Yes, Omar is not. This is real story with me as a woman. But as a woman, I should be strong in order to face everything around us. Not even a man, but a woman can be able to overcome all these in order to realize the happiness, to spread love, and to spread hope among all people. She is responsible for them. This is my short story in this shelter. Many stories. I hope all people to know everything about this escalation, which destroyed everything, and we hate it. We never need it or wanted it. Kids or adults or man, woman, every person in Palestine hate this escalation or war, every military intervention like this. This is my story as a refugee. So, UNRWA, not part of my story, but UNRWA is all the story of me.
Yes. Rawya, that goes back to, thank you so much for sharing all these stories. I am supposed to be the host of this show, and I'm deeply, deeply affected by what you said. I can only imagine what the listeners are also feeling. Thank you for sharing that. And it goes back to my point, how Palestine refugee women are the backbones of their community. And Rawya, you are the backbone of your community. And, the strength and the professionalism and the care and solidarity that you embody is very on brand with Palestinian women. It's on brand with Palestine refugee and their story. So thank you so much for your service. And
thank you for you and all.
And may you continue to be strong, and may we continue to support you. So, Rawya, you have been working for UNRWA for 32 years. I'm sure you have a lot more stories. What you told us was just, a little, 0.1% of everything that you
have. Milestone in my life, yes. Remarkable.
So you've been working for 32 years, and you are the principal of the Gaza Training Center. So can you give us a general overview of the current employment situation in Gaza? What does employment look like for women right now? And how is UNRWA increasing women's access to skills and jobs?
Okay. According to the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics, BCBS, in the third quarter 2022, unemployment in Gaza stood at 46.6%.
Oh.
And yes, and increasing happened 2.5% from the previous quarter. It was 44, but in the third quarter it is 47, increasing here 2.5. Unemployment in Gaza is still the higher among women than men, reaching to 70 unemployment for female, 70 in Gaza in the quarter 3 compared to 65% in the previous quarter. So it increased to be 70% the employment among female. In the West Bank, the unemployment it's 12 only, 12%. There's a difference between Gaza and West Bank.
Yes.
Due to many factors and many reasons.
Yes.
From TVET, I mean Technical Vocational Training Center, we have maybe higher rate of employment among our colleagues as university and college, because the high quality of education and also the high quality of instructor here, because we have good reputation. So our employment rate is 65%. It's the higher among our colleagues, by the way. This is lucky to say that. According to this, there are many factors for this percentage of unemployment. The blockade, around 15 years, a blockade to Gaza, forbid the businessman in order to invest their money in Gaza, and also escalation from time to time. Not need the businessman to put in risk, they invest their money. Also depending on the aid, may subject cut in any time. Also the lack of access, the World Bank estimation said that 59% are poor, and 11 of them, the household for the family breadwinner is as a woman, is a woman. She's responsible totally for the family, 11 of the family in Gaza. And also, when I talk about the factors, many factors really.
Yes, I think I think many people are aware about the factors that are affecting employment in Gaza, and especially employment for women in Gaza. Thank you, Rawya, for sharing those statistics with us. They're very helpful.
This question,
this
question needs to be reviewed.
Yes.
Sorry.
And they put things into perspective for our listeners. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about International Women's Day for this year. So the UN's theme for International Women's Day is Embrace Equity. So can you tell us how UNRWA drives gender parity and exclusiveness in its staff and its programs?
First, I want to tell you how UNRWA increases women access skills and jobs. First, absolutely, UNRWA does seek working to increase access to skill and jobs through variety of initiatives. One of them, HR initiative, which make amendment for regulation and rules according to the female when they apply to the senior position. And also microfinance loan, which give loans for a woman in order to start her own business, and $16,000 loans, 50 of them was for a woman. And also TVET training, TVET technical vocational training, give the opportunity to training and also to have a job after the graduation for female and male, but the majority for female. And also it opened the technology and the freelance. It's increased the rate of employment for among the female. Capacity building and career development, enhancing female leadership and management, communication skill, interpersonal skills, many skills. Empower them in order to be able to apply for senior staff. WAF, it is Women Advisory Committee of Forum. It is an initiative by Comgen. Consists of 17 female around Gaza and also in the agency wide. They study exactly the needs of the female in the front line and then set them as needs, then priority, then start to implement activities in order to support women and to enhance them the capacity to be able to apply for any job, to be equipped by these skills in order to apply for the senior jobs. Working with Women Protection Center and continuously build the skills of case of management to gender-based violence. This includes empowerment for women through income generation also, to self-sustainable life, to protect themselves from everything around them. And also in education department, they have own initiative which called TEL to work together leadership for female in education in order also to empower them to have the ability to apply for the senior position. And in the education, the percentage for female is around 60% among the other departments because, teacher and the principal, they are majority higher than the male, yes. And also in the TVET, we have 34 female only, but in this opportunity, in this chance, I want to ask all the time I set a priority, one of them to produce or introduce courses for female in the trade courses in order to increase this percentage. Also in the short-term courses, I all the time announce sometimes, most of the time for female. And another thing, the project which is donated in UNRWA, sometimes it's conditioned to be female, 70 or 80% for female. All these initiatives increase the access for jobs and skills.
Yes. Yes, I think that was a comprehensive comprehensive response to the question, and it's very helpful for audiences to learn how UNRWA was in fact it came into operations back in the end of the 1940s, early 1950s, and it was the first kind of organization to be aware about gender parity and to be aware about including women in the workforce and to provide more access to jobs for Palestine refugee women. And 70 years later after operation, that is still the case. And we see that by them having Rawya in charge of the Gaza Training Center, managing shelters, and having her speak on behalf of UNRWA during International Women's Day. So it all adds up, Rawya, and thank you again for these statistics.
Thank you.
So, I want to actually talk about your center. So you are the principal of Gaza's Training Center that we visited this past summer.
Yes.
So as I mentioned earlier during my introduction, my team and I were in Gaza this past summer, and we got to see firsthand the students in action in Rawya Center. We saw their products, we spoke to many of them, and honestly, they were some of the brightest and most hardworking people that I have ever met. And they also gifted us beautiful handmade woodwork that I have hung up in my apartment, and I cherish it very, very deeply. And whenever I have people over, I tell them the story of the center along with the artwork that's present in my house. So can you speak to us about the center and the different services that you provide to your refugee students?
You and all listeners are welcome to visit Gaza Training Center to see it by their eyes. Thank you, Diana.
Of course.
Yes, you know that UNRWA run 8 VTCs, 8 vocational training center. Yes, 2 of them are in Gaza. One is in Gaza city, and another is in Khan Yunis. You know the main goal to equip the students or the trainer with the skills which are relevant to the labor market and to cope the edge of technology. This is the main goal. And we have 9 interlinking blocks strategic plan for Tibet, which contains of 9 interlinking blocks. The first of them is access. How to deal with access for vulnerable people.
Yes.
You know, 90% of the trainees in centers are classified as poor. This classification as RSS classification, the people who have food, food distribution, this is classified as poor. So 90% of this training is classified as poor. And also the access for female. So here we need to open courses to increase the number of the female in the trade courses. And we have 100% for disabilities and want to increase that, but by the access in the reconstruction in the for the building and infrastructure to be easy for disabilities in order to be enrolled in this VTCs. Another blocks was placement and career guidance. Placement and career guidance, this position to give guidance for the school, the student in the school, and also to teach or to learn, to train the students in order to how to apply for jobs and to give them guidance and some information about the employer outside, the company, the factories, in order to be able to have jobs outside. Labor market relevant and responsiveness also. We should be relevant to the labor market. Should we have a back program advisory committee, which have the linkage between us and the labor market to know the need, the exact need for the company, the exact need for the employer, and to equip our student in this by this skills which is needed to the employer in order to get jobs and opportunity. Development and delivery of the curriculum. All the time we updating our curriculum in order to meet the labor market and the edge of technology. Human resource development, and it's at this point we really have shortage because the capacity building, we need capacity building for our instructor for a long time. They haven't traveled, they don't have capacity building due to the blockade, due to some policy. So if they still not having this training, something may be out of dated in our centers, Sustainability, short-term courses. From time to time, we announce about short-term courses because to be sustainable and to meet also the labor market and also the edge of technology. Finally, we have many short-term courses like UX, UI, Flutter, multimedia, digital marketing, many in order to meet the edge of technology also and to meet the digitalization, as you know. Tibet emergency. And in the COVID-19, the training center, we faced many challenges because, the nature of the training need physical, need face-to-face, but we overcome in this by many modalities like videos, like to ask my instructor to come and record video in the same workshop by the same equipment in order to be close with their students in their home. But so this COVID let us think about strategic modalities in order to be faced in any emergency come. Also, recently we have digitalization by produce or to produce many courses meet the digitalization, like digital marketing, like as I told you before, UI, UX, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. All of these need also to be updated according to the globalization, according to the internationalization, this high demand. And also green pivot. When I talk about green pivot, I talk about solar energy, about energy efficiency, and we have introduced finally course photovoltaic system installation and maintenance. And this is the first time for Gaza to have 27 female for this course. And we face many troubles among for society, how female work in panel to climb for the roof, but we were able to persuade them that this is opportunity not only for male but also for female, and we have recorded many successful story among female now, and they got job. And also equity to have access for all people, whether disabilities, boy, girls, vulnerable, every sector of the people. We should take into consideration these strategic procedures and activities and everything. This is about Pivot Center. And by the way, it contains 3 categories. One is the trade. I mean by trade, the skilled laborer and the craft. And technical, when I said technical, I mean 12 years should be studied, 12 years post-secondary.
Yes.
Yes, as engineer, mechanical engineer, IT sector, like this. And also short-term courses, as I told you before. Yes.
Yes, Rawya, I remember we did speak when we went to the center, my team and I, with students who worked in crafts, students who worked in engineering, and we had the beautiful conversations with them. And I want to remind our speakers that within the Palestine refugee communities, there are groups of people within that community that need more support and more assistance based on different factors. So I think that's important for people to realize, and that these particular individuals are the ones being served at the Gaza Training Center, and that's being managed by Rawya. So Rawya, what are the top challenges that UNRWA faces in delivering technical and vocational training to UNRWA students? We know about the different challenges that UNRWA faces on a strategy level, on a grand level, but I really want to hear from you on the challenges that UNRWA faces for technical and vocational training when it's being delivered to its students.
Yes, of course. In spite of all the achievement in our technical vocational, but still there are many challenges faced the progress, which is the first of them, limited resources, declining funding according to the austerity measure. We need to redesign some courses in order, as I told you before, to meet the edge of technology, but this need budget in order to have accreditation, you know. Our trainees also need capacity building in order to cope the technology and also to meet the labor market needs. Lack of the employment opportunity in Gaza also. We talk about locally. We look forward to have a global opportunity, because really our trainees deserve, because of the high quality of their training. And also the 15 years of blockade, which forbid everything happen, locked Gaza totally, no opportunity, no guarantee to any businessman to have his own business in order to increase the rate of employment and to have my trainees opportunity. Also, the infrastructure. I need infrastructure and reconstruction for some courses. When I speak about courses which its age in 1953. The auto mechanic courses, this is the first one started. It was the first course was in the GTC, but with equipment until now, the same equipment from the 50s. And
Wow.
also the machining also the same machine from the 50s. And all the time have maintained the maintenance, but finally, how we can practice or train our students in this machine while all the time damaged and we can make maintenance. Because due to what? Due to political issue, W's and many criteria, I don't know what is the justification for them in order to forbid this for training. Many things forbid us to progress. In spite of all this, as I told you, we have a huge achievement. When we participate in any prize, globally or locally, we get the prize in spite of the lack of resources, the lack of training, the lack of infrastructure, the lack of equipment. We all the time get the prize. We all the time be in remarkable students. When I visited the employer position at the workshop, they all the time praise my trainees and say to me all the time, they are the best graduates I have among all the university.
I
So
believe.
yes,
I believe it.
yes,
Yeah.
they need support, really.
Yes. When I told you when I spoke to them, I felt that, and when I spoke to you, I also realized how you're putting in a lot of hard work, but it does show. Like you do see the effects of it, and you see the impact of it.
Yeah.
I want to encourage all our listeners to learn more about Gaza's Training Center by visiting UNRWA's website, and to also support UNRWA through UNRWA USA by visiting unrwausa.org, and donating or advocating or spreading the word on social media for the work that we do on behalf of UNRWA, on behalf of Palestine refugees. So, Rawya, I really want to talk. I want to ask you a personal question. So, what is the most fulfilling and rewarding component of your job as principal of the Gaza Training Center? And I do understand that you want to show our viewers a video, and that you also wrote a poem
Yes.
to speak about.
Let's have this in the second. Let's have this in the second question. Yes.
Yes. So, what is the most fulfilling and rewarding component of your job?
The most essential one for me, the thing which I come here for, is trainees. The trainees.
Yes.
The trainees is my essential goal here. When I see with my eyes how they have delivered training and have a job and support their families, this is main goal for me.
Yes.
When I know, I heard about them, I hear that one of them become high position in government or the private sector everywhere. I visited them and so see them. I was proud. I become proud of my trainees. So I all the time give them hope, give them love. I consider them as my son.
Yes.
Because they are the future. They are the future. I start with them with ethical, moral, how to communicate with people, how to deal with people. All the time, tell them that you will enter houses, you will enroll in a job. You should have good reputation, good attitude, good value. So I'm proud to have like this trainees, and all the time say that my trainees deserve to live in dignity, to live in, to have the opportunity to work, to have the opportunity to travel, to have the opportunity to have partnership with others, to exchange experience. Last month, I visited Basque Country and see the centers there. From this moment until now, I dream that my student and my instructor also go to visit Basque and like this country, which is have the progress in vocational training. Why not? Why not? What the forbid my students and instructor to exchange experience with others in order to promote and to develop the VTCs, the training, everything.
Yes, that is a very fulfilling and rewarding component. And you are a very passionate person, and you are someone that really loves what you do. And you could see that from the way that you're speaking since the beginning of this interview. So thank
And
you.
also here, Dayala, I want to ask all
Mm,
around of the world to advocacy, for advocacy,
yes.
for to telling our story everywhere. No travel, no participation in global event. Improving the access. I ask them to improve the access, the resources, and additional to improve our fund, to have donors in order to make progress, to support TVET everywhere, increase the employability, support open international market also for us, provide partnership, establish research unit in VTCs. Why it's important for technical vocational to have a research unit in order for applied research, to have a startup project. Conducting annual event, and also to support me to conduct annual event in order to attract the world in order to visit this event and to support us. Establish innovation hub, incubation and innovation for my students, for all the students in the FTZs. It will have the support and make progress for them, and also reach the globalization. When I open the international market, partnership, innovation hub, incubator, all these leads to progress and development.
So I know that Rawya, you did mention this as you were speaking, but I want you to directly tell me, as someone that is from Gaza, someone that UNRWA has been a huge component of your life. You were born a refugee. You're still living as a refugee. You serve refugees. How can we here in the United States, whether from our government or people, better support refugees and better support UNRWA's work?
First, believe in UNRWA. This is the first. Advocacy for our rights. As I told you, telling our story to all people. Help us to break the borders. Why the borders? Why the blockade? Help us, support us in order to finish this blockade. Encourage the capacity building for our instructor, as I told you before. Develop workshop and equipment infrastructure, which is out of dated. Increase, as I told you, the employability. Help us to increase the employability by opening the international and the global market for our students. Increase the partnership, support us in this. Support us to introduce courses for female also in the trade courses. I want to tell you one thing, that I have photovoltaic system installation and maintenance workshop during a project from one donor, GIZ, but it looked now because I have no instructor, no funded to have instructor to reopen this workshop, which is solar energy. It's important now because I talk about the strategic, the blocks, the 9 blocks, which one of them is the green pivot. Many things, but we need support for many aspects, all the dimension of the pivot, whether instructor, whether students, whether infrastructure, whether curriculum also. I want unit for the curriculum to make updating, to make upgrading for my curriculum also, with the linkage of the labor market. Yes.
Thank you for that. I think when people hear directly from someone that's in Gaza and someone that UNRWA has such impact, a huge impact on their life, it will not fall on deaf ears. So thank you, Rawya, for sharing that as well. So this is our last question and our last the end of our conversation. So I really want to end on a hopeful note. It has been such a pleasure listening to you, but what are some of the hopeful thoughts that you would like to share with our listeners about the overall situation?
Okay. So you can now.
Yes. So yeah,
Rawya
Rawya has prepared a small video for us, and she has also written a poem for us that she wants our listeners to listen to. So I'm going to upload the video right now, and I will give the floor to Rawya.
Before poem, I all the time pray not to be objected to the fifth military escalation. We need better, peaceful, happy life to all Palestinians in the world. Our students deserve to live in dignity and have decent work. My poem is, my children and me have a dream to stop war, to live in peace, get free, plant a flower and a tree, enjoy, walk by the sea without worry, fear, or tear. Spread love, hope everywhere, reach the sky, to have wing, break the border and fly. To get the chance to realize, to globalize, Palestine deserve the best life. Touch my heart and eyes. I ask all to do and to know the best for Palestine, you, my friend and guys. Thank you very much.
Thank
This
you,
is
Rawya.
the side of the exhibition from my students today. We participate in the government Ministry of Education, and we were distinctive by after the evaluation of this exhibition, we were distinctive in this exhibition. Yes, this is a video from this show. Yes.
Thank you, Rawya. That was so beautiful. It was so nice to see you in action. It was so nice to see your exhibition today in honor of International Women's Day. So thank you, Rawya, for speaking to us on International Women's Day and for educating us on the important work that UNRWA is doing for Palestine refugees, for Palestine refugee women in particular. So on behalf of our entire UNRWA USA team, we appreciate the time you took to tell our listeners how they can better support UNRWA's work in the region, and we extend our gratitude and solidarity to all the staff on the ground in Gaza. So on this note, I'd like to remind all those watching to keep your eye on Palestine and its refugees and continue showing your solidarity with Palestine refugees by supporting organizations like UNRWA USA. You can make a one-time donation or become a monthly donor, and we call our monthly donor Solidarity Sustainers. You can also advocate for the continuation of UNRWA's work by contacting your members of Congress. Visit unrwausa.org to learn more. And this is a reminder to follow us on social media at UNRWA USA to stay up to date with our latest. We are active on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you, Rawya, again, and thank you for all who have tuned in. And we look forward to seeing you in our next Let's Talk UNRWA episode. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Diala. Thank you very much for having me. Good opportunity. Thank you.